All right, so this is those are my rounds, or I guess all 3 rounds from the past weekend. So Friday was round 1. For some reason, they have us start on hole 10. I think it was just easier because all the parking was here and all along here, and then hole 1 is a little interesting to get to. You'll see that in a minute, but so we started here. Pretty straightforward. I mean, it's 288 feet. I don't really have like pictures or videos of me actually playing, so I'm just gonna kind of go off of the caddy book that they gave us. Um, but yeah, so teed off. It was fine through a mid range, missed all the trees, ended up about here. Was this 260? So yeah, I was about here, about 20 feet short. Um, first hole, didn't really want to try too hard to make the putt, so laid it up, took a par, pretty easy. All right, so hole 11, next one. Pretty short still. These trees don't show up very well, but they are definitely hanging out over into the straight shot. Sorry, I guess I'm stuck in my throat. So it's definitely more of an out and around. This tree wasn't really a factor, but it's out and around. This is all pretty thick brush over here. But I sawed it off pretty short. So I actually ended up going straight, just barely getting past this tree, and I ended up over here in this brush. I had a nice little opening and just kind of tossed it out. Picked up another par. Um, so this hole is actually probably 20 feet above where it ends up. So all this is downhill, and it's a lot more wooded, obviously. So till about here, all this is blind. So we have no idea where it's going. So obviously I wanted to hit this line up through here, and I yanked it, went out here, actually passed through these trees, hit one of these branches, and fell down over here. Again, pitched it up, easy par. And then hole 13. Okay, so hole 13, tried to pull out a forehand. So, Sam, you know, but Nick, so for me, a forehand, throw with like a baseball, I guess. So it would go and it would finish to the right. So that's the traditional forehand. Then backhand would finish to the left. Um, so tried to throw a forehand here. First forehand of the day, sawed it off way early. Ended up over here. Just wanted to throw straight, kind of to just a little bit to the left of the tree. Let it finish somewhere in here, or even skip up. Went to the right of the tree over here. Pitched up. These trees weren't really a factor. This one was kind of in the way. Just kind of floated it out to about here, maybe 10 feet. Pretty easy par again. Then 14 again. Um, Forehand would have been fine if I could throw it correctly. I would have just gone, straight through here, ended up about here, maybe get a good skip around here. Again, real short. Actually hit a tree in here somewhere, got lucky, kicked straight back out into the middle. Had to throw another mid-range up to here. Pretty easy shot after that. Again, taking a par. I think you can start to see the trend here. There's a lot of pars. This one was also a forehand. pured it this time, threw it pretty well, came in through here. This grass was really long, and so I was hoping for a skip, a nice skip up, and then maybe a little bit of roll. No, it just died right here. So we all know what I did. I think I actually ran this one, tried to make it, and just went over the top and just probably ended up right here for another easy par. This one, okay, so this is all a creek, obviously about 15 feet lower than this. Here, it's everything over here is blind. No idea what's going on over here. Can't see where it's landing. This road, it's a lot closer than it looks. So that's a little, you want to watch out for that. But obviously through backhand, clean a little too far right, but it was fine. Came in through here, ended up, I think I was right around here because I was about 25 feet. So this is my first real birdie chance. And so of course, what did I do? Hit it right off the bottom of the cage, too low, fell to the ground, tap in for a par. And then this one, this is I think my only bogey for the round, maybe? I don't know. But here, these two trees are really, you want to get it through the middle of them. You can't really go to this side. It's not this there's a little bit of a gap, but it's not really where you want to be going, just because of this river. So I threw it, yanked it a little bit, hit off the inside of this tree, and it kicked over to here where there's a bunch more trees. So I had to, pitch out, and I ended up about here. Tried to run it for the par, hit off the top this time, fell down, so took a bogey, excuse me. At this point, I'm one over through what, 7 holes? I don't know. We start on hole 10, yeah. So this one, pretty straightforward. Tried to play it safe and miss all the trees. Ended up short. I was fine with it. Pitched up, took my par. Not much happening on that hole. And then we'll go back to hole 1. All right, and hole 1. And so this is there's a pretty big hill you have to walk up. Right here. This is all a hill. So up to about here is pretty flat, and then it just pretty drastically uphill right in here. So this is all sloping down towards OB, so you don't want to roll. And these are obviously all trees, so you don't want to go too early. So I made the safe mistake, just went straight, ended up here on the hill, pitched up for my par because why not? Imagine getting birdies, that'd be fun, huh? This one, so this is a very short hole. It doesn't look like it from this picture. This is a very short hole. This is a must get pretty much. So forehand here, through it, and I feel like this tree is actually more over here. You want to go to the left of this tree to have a good little bowl. I guess it kind of funnels into a bowl here. So I went down, skipped to, I don't know, 8 feet. So that was a nice birdie for me. Took me back to even on the round. This one's, I think, the longest on the course so far, maybe. But I don't really love these pictures because it doesn't show the trees very well. But this is pretty straight, dead straight right at it. Had a decent shot. I got to about this tree. I had maybe 40 feet left. I didn't really run it. It was just a really safe throw. so wouldn't go far past. If I did go past, ended up right at the base for another par, so that was fine. This one again, this is up a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 feet to right here from the tee pad, and then it drops off down the hill. And there's actually steps in right here. So there's like one here, one here, one here maybe, and then there's another one after the basket. And so I got lucky. I threw a backhand, hit this tree, and bounced right down really close. So ended up with another birdie there, which is really nice. And so because I got a birdie on the last one and no one else on my card got a birdie, so I got to go first on this hole. So threw a nice forehand up through here. This is up on a hill, kind of bunch of trees here, so I went around the outside to miss them all. This is the one I sent you the picture of. I was 4 feet away maybe. I was like, great, cool, I'm real happy with that. The guy right after me, I don't think he was trying to, but yanks it straight over all these trees, misses everything, gets an ace. So yeah, that kind of sucked a lot. Didn't love that. But got my birdie, so I mean, that was all I could do there. This one again, this is very much uphill. You can't see anything past these first 2 trees. This is really just get it up there. It says it's 215. It probably plays 320 to 330. It was very uphill. Again, I was a little early. Ended up here, pitch up, par. All good there. This is the only par 4 on this course that we played. So it's really you want to throw a nice smooth backhand. Landing zone maybe here. If you're really trying to kill it, you can land up here or even up here. I shanked it a little bit. I ended up, I think I was under one of these trees, right up against one of these trees. Still have a chance for birdie here. This is par 4 if I get a good upshot. I didn't. I ended up probably a foot from this road inbounds, so that was nice. But again, pitch up, take a par. This is also a nice, easy hole. A little bit downhill, probably plays 160, 170. There's a nice backstop hill here, so all this slopes down into this bowl. But if you hit it hard enough, you could roll into the road in OB. I got lucky, hit it here, sat really nicely, 15 feet away, put it in, birdie. So 3 down right now. And the last hole. There's another, so there's a lot of hills that made the difficulty here, but another hill here, and I guess a lot of people had been hitting or skipping off the top of the hill and just flying all the way down, so didn't want to have to deal with that. Threw a forehand out and around, just a safe shot, ended up right under one of these trees. Threw it real soft so it wouldn't really go anywhere. Ended up pretty close. Took my par, and that was it for the first round. It was 3 under on the round, and that was what put me in 28th going into day 2. Let's see if I can figure out where. Okay, there it is. And then, so day 2. Day 2, we played different course. There's kind of the satellite layout. I don't know if this means anything to you, but park along this road here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, all through there. As you can tell, 18 is really long. We'll get to that. Hole 1, pretty far downhill. You just want to go straight, end up around here. It's a par 3, but it's not really a reachable par 3. I really just wanted to go straight and end up down here for an easy shot. I didn't. I screwed it up, hit one of these trees, fell down here, had to chip up to here, missed my putt up, took a bogey to start off the round. So, not very good. This hole is, again, really far downhill. Probably plays 220, 210. Threw a nice smooth shot. Ended up 15 to 20 feet past the basket. Felt good on the putt. Hit the bottom of the basket. Just was a little low. That's fine. I was okay with it at the time, but that's a par. This one, pretty simple forehand. There's a small, there's a 60-foot gap here. Pretty hard to miss, I'll say. Threw it nice, cleanly through there. Ended up again 15, 20 feet away. Again, missed the putt low, hit the basket, had to settle for par. This hole is pretty downhill, but a very tight brush coming in on either side, so you really want to keep it straight. I yanked it a little bit, ended up in here, got really lucky. There was a fallen tree in front of me, so I had a nice gap where I could just throw out, and ended up pretty nicely over here. Made the putt, took another par, so that was really nice. This is another short hole. I'm thinking of the correct hole. I'm not. I'm thinking of a different hole. Oh yeah, this hole is. It played more difficult than it should have. There was a fallen tree here on this log, and it really got in my head. It was on the ground, so 2 feet high at most, and it really got in my head. So of course I threw it way too low. Actually skipped off the top of the log, ended up really short. Again, had to pitch up, take a par, move on to the next one. This is the really short, pretty simple hole. Just a straight shot, let it do its thing. I threw it pretty well, came in, landed 10 feet away, took a birdie. So I was happy with that one. That was nice. So I think that got me back to even on this round so far. Hole 7, actually a very difficult par 3. All these trees pretty close, pretty overgrown. Very hard to go up here, up a little bit, and then back down. Not really something that I'm ever going to reach. Got really lucky, hit a tree over here somewhere, kicked back into the middle of the fairway. Another easy pitch up. Kinda left it a little short, but I made it a pretty decent putt to save the par there, so that was nice. This one is also pretty far uphill, so this basket's probably 50 feet above us on this hill. So just threw it up here. Threw it a little lower than I wanted. Hit pretty early. Didn't really have the right angle or distance to go for it. So again, had to pitch up, take a nice par. This one definitely should have been a birdie for me. I screwed it up. So this hill is all sloping down towards this pond, I guess. And so I left it a little too high coming through here, and it came in and ended up down in this brush and filtered all down here. Again, had to pitch out, take my par. At this point, I wasn't too upset. So I managed to save all my pars. It wasn't going terrible. It wasn't great. I wish it would have been better, but it wasn't terrible at this point. This one, pretty big hill up, and then this all plays up on top of the ridge here. So this is a par 4, so we chipped up to here. I actually ended up kind of near this brush a little bit, but I was fine with it. Threw another shot. I was maybe 30 feet away. Missed the putt. Went a little bit past. 15 feet past. Easy putt. Didn't really take my time. Didn't really focus. Hit the bottom of the basket. Fell down. Had to tap in for a bogey. So wasn't real happy with that. I was ready to move on and get into the next hole, and we ran into a backup. I guess a bunch of people had thrown into the woods over here or lost some discs and took forever, so we had to wait probably 40 minutes just sitting here waiting for other people to go in front of us before we finally got to go. And I shanked it straight into these trees here. Tried to get fancy when I threw it out. Hit something, ended up in these trees here. There's a real small gap that I was trying to go through that would have been really nice if I hit it. Didn't hit it. Still in these trees here. I kind of got lucky on that one. Had a shot. Pitched it out to here. I think I actually missed the putt after. And then had to make it. Yeah, so I ended up with a 6 on this hole. On a par 3, I ended up with the 6. So, not real happy with that. Pretty poor performance on that hole. Now, this one, pretty tight through here. All this is open. Gets to about 10 to 15 feet wide in through here to the basket. I actually pured it all the way through. Went a little far, about 20 feet past, but I did make my putt. So that was really nice. I was like, great, back on track after that stupid 6. Let's do it. We're doing great. I think I was like 2 over at this point. I don't know how to do math. Maybe 1 over. This one, really long par 4, or par 3, excuse me. I'm never making it there in 1. I'd have to really just rip on something and kill it. So, played a pretty safe, I want to say, shot. Got good distance, got to here. Maybe 360, 370. Just played the easy pitch up to get the par. I was fine with that. I'm never going to birdie this hole. I was fine to just take a par and move on. This is where everything fell off the rails. Again, had to wait some more. More people in front of us losing discs, mostly up in here. After this hole before, I was feeling good. I was like, man, I got that distance. I can really push for it and just try and get it up here to get a long putt. So I really tried to go for it and just way too low, shanked it straight into the ground, ended up 40 feet off the tee pad, we'll say. Into the trees, didn't really have anything, had to pitch out into the middle of the fairway. Great. I guess we'll just save the bogey from here. Threw a decent shot, 25 away, missed the putt, had to tap in for a double bogey. Next hole, ready to get it back. Again, threw it straight into the ground. Didn't advance very far. Not real happy with it. Got really lazy on the upshot. Ended up long on the upshot. Missed the putt again. Tap in for a 4 or 5. Yeah, not real happy with the performance on this hole. No, I tapped in for a 4. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this hole, 16. Felt pretty confident at first when it left my hand, threw it, felt really good. Somehow made it through all these trees without hitting anything and went OB. So, great finish. I had to take it back here where it went out of bounds. Got lazy with the upshot again, hit another tree, ended up about here, pitched it up, tapped it in for a 5, I believe. So 1, 2 back out, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so another 5 on that hole. 17, pretty far uphill. Not a super difficult hole, but it's just after playing it, I wish I would have known. You definitely want to stay to the right. It's much more open. Definitely a far uphill, so it played probably 460 or so. So I obviously tried to rip it. I thought it was fine. I made it past both of these trees over into this little area. Didn't realize you don't have a look at anything over here. Had to pitch out here, pitch up here, tap in for par. That one I was pretty annoyed about. I felt really good about the drive, just didn't really play the hole how I needed to play it. And then 18, which would have been the only bright spot for me. So this tee pad is probably 80 feet above, the down here in the fairway, which is all this is really open. There's not OB over here. A lot of people were fading out really soon. Watch out for that. But 80 feet up, I was like, screw it. It's the last hole. So I really killed it. And it was fantastic. I got past this tee pad, threw it all the way down to about here. It was like 460 feet or something like that, 470. I don't remember. I measured it on Google Maps, but it 80 feet up down into the valley with a little bit of a helping wind. So realistically, not on flat ground, never getting there, but felt great about it. Threw another really good shot all the way up to here. It's like, great, I can get a birdie on this super difficult par 4. I was 15 feet away, pretty excited, focused on my putt, missed it low. Hit the bottom of the basket, fell down, had to tap in for par. Turns out, if I had made that putt, that would have been the only birdie on this hole. So, that was great. Ended up with a +8 on round 2 on McNaughton. So, +5 overall after my 3 under on round 1. So that really sucked. That put me in 100 and what did I say, 167th or something like that. I don't remember. And so going into round 3, this is what we got. Westwood Park, which everyone had said all weekend was the most difficult of the 3. And they were right. It was very much more in the woods. Very much everything's obstructed. Pretty difficult course. So started off. If you have a good forehand, it's a pretty straightforward, straight let it fade in. I figured, you know what? I had such a great day yesterday. Why don't I go ahead and shank it into the ground again? Ended up about here. Had to pitch up, take a par, move on to the next one. Hole 2, there's a pretty large hill. All this dark green is a pretty large hill running down towards the right. So really, it's a pretty safe hole. You just get past these trees right here, which you just go out wide, let it come back in, and pretty much everything will filter down to the bottom. So I had a decent shot up here. I was above the river, but it wasn't too obstructed. Not a good angle to really try and make the putt. So just threw it up under the basket, tapped in for another par. Not a terrible start, honestly, for me. This one, I wish they would take a picture of the basket instead of whatever this is, because add maybe 80 more trees all through here. There's a small gap that's probably here. This is probably that small gap. Where you can make it through, and then there's a little bit of a gap over here, but everything else is all trees and all brush, and it's not open at all. I got really lucky, made it all the way through, and actually it was short, and I ended up near the steps over here, which I was fine with. I made it through the gap, didn't hit anything, missed the putt obviously, because why would I ever make a putt? That's dumb, right? So took my par. Now this hole was apparently the bane of everyone's existence. It pretty straight. It was super muddy. First of all, it had rained the day before, so all this is super muddy. This creek isn't overflown. It's just overflowing. Idiot. Not flooded. We'll say that. But everything is just covered in mud and pretty gross. We didn't play this. We played this basket. Okay, apparently my headset just died, so that's great. Yeah, so there's a landing zone here, a really safe landing zone, pretty flat spot, cool. I'd never played this course before. A guy we were playing with had, so he said, yeah, there's a nice landing zone here. It's easy to get to. Great, we're like, cool, we'll take his word for it. Threw up to here, perfect, safe, no problem. Another small landing zone here. I kind of pinched myself off behind a tree a little bit. Didn't have a great angle to get all the way to the basket because this is really far uphill again. Pitched up to the next landing zone. Great. Not my best third shot up to the top. It was pretty flat up on the top. I wanted to end up about here. I ended up over here some. Kind of looking straight back downhill. Didn't want to miss and go all the way down to the bottom. Pitched up, took a 5, and I was okay with a 5 actually on this hole. This was a really difficult hole. So the hole right after, I was like, great, I took a 5, I'm okay with it. Could be worse, not too bad. Hit this tree right here, kick straight over here. Phenomenal, love it. All right, cool. Let me try to get back to the fairway. Hit this tree over here, kick straight over here. All right, cool. Let me try and get back to the fairway, I guess. Hit this tree here, or one of these trees here, fell down here. Like, all right, screw it. Screw the fairway. We'll go through the woods. Perfect, great. Right there, tap it in. I think it was a 5. So, took another 5 on a par 3. Hole 6. Hole 6, I don't. This map does not really show the hole well at all. But about here where this little bridge and fallen log is, it's a deep gully coming back up to about this rock. And there's no trees blocking anything, just a pretty straight shot until the basket. There's one tree that you need to miss. This is a must get birdie. So I don't know. I shanked it, did something dumb, ended up over here, kind of on the upslope of the hill. Not great footing. Tried to putt, slipped a little bit, missed the putt, ended up with a par. Everyone else on my card took a birdie, so that felt really great on the must get birdie. Then hole 7 was a pretty straightforward. There's one tree right in the middle, so you could either go inside it or outside it. I like to go outside. I think I hit something up here. It just didn't get all the way to there. Had to pitch up again and take a par, but I played it decently well and had a pretty open hole overall. Hole 8 sucked. Real tight fairway, probably 50 feet across, really thick brush on either side, downhill, just not fun, gets in your head. Again, 435 feet for a par 3. I'm never getting there. Tried to play safe and put it right down in the middle. I don't know. Maybe skipped. Maybe just wasn't a great shot. Ended up over on the left. Tried to pitch out to the bottom near the basket. Ended up short, and then the basket's up on a little mound. Ended up short. Said, all right, cool. I'll go for my par. Ran it. Missed. Went past. Said, all right, well, I'll just save the bogey here. Ran it. Missed. Went past. Tapped in. Took another 5 on a par 3 when I shouldn't have. Just doing stupid stuff. Messed up a lot. And, yeah. Story of the weekend, I guess. Hole 9, there's a steep drop off, like immediate drop off right here, all the way down. So, whatever you do, avoid going over there. So I did. I was fine. I think I hit a tree up in here. This is also a really short hole. It doesn't look like it, but it was a really short hole. I hit a tree upper somewhere in here, laid up pretty nicely, took an easy par. I was fine with that. After the hole before, I needed something easy like that, and I was okay with it. Hole 10. Okay, yeah. So, hole 10, I don't know what this is supposed to be showing. It was, again, a pretty simple, straightforward hole until here. There's 2 trees you have to either go between or miss either way. I hit one of them, fell straight down. My upshot wasn't great. Ended up over here and missed the putt. Took a bogey. Now this was also a really difficult hole. So you're probably 50 to 60 feet above the flat down here, and there's trees lining all along here. Any kit could send you OB or just up into the hill, into the trees, and really you want to get something turning through here and end up down in this area. So I got a really nice shot here. I clipped a little bit of tree branch and it slowed me down and I ended up here. I think if I missed the tree branch, I would have been up in here, had a chance at a putt maybe, but I clipped a tree branch, ended up here. It was safe. It was okay. I was fine with it. It was a good shot. Pitched up, took a par. Really good par. I don't think there's any birdies on that hole on the day either, so a par was really nice. And then hole 12. Trying to remember. So it started raining at some point during the day, but I don't think it was yet. I think this is only one of 2 par 4s on this course, but had a nice shot up into here. I think I hit this downed log, and then my upshot just got really lazy. Ended up over in here somewhere. Just letting stuff go too soon, just getting really lazy with it. Had to pitch up and take a par, which 2 pars in a row. I was pretty happy with that. And this is the only hole that was really somewhat in the open. So you have to get into the mouth here and just kind of filter down. This is a hill too. You filter down the hill to there. So what did I do? Threw it straight into the ground right here. Had a really good recovery shot though, out over to here, right above the creek, and I made my putt to save the par. So it was a really good recovery, but it wouldn't have been needed if I had made any kind of competitive shot on the first throw. And then this was not a good hole for me either. So all this up on the left is a pretty big hill sloping down towards the creek here. Went too far left, hit a tree. Threw up here. It kind of bounced a little, rolled down, missed the putt back, had to tap in. Ended up with a 4 on this hole. Should have been a 3. It just got away from me. Another par 4. So this is where it started to rain. So it had been sprinkling a little bit. Wind picked up just a little bit, but we were in the woods, so we didn't really tell the wind. And then it started to rain as we were teeing off on this hole. So I threw a decent shot, kicked something that a little unlucky. I mean, bad shot. Obviously, I hit something I didn't want to, but just more unlucky at the end of a decent shot. Kicked over to here. Tried to pitch out, hit a tree, fell straight down. Tried to pitch out, hit a tree. I think I'm still over here. Pitched out to the middle. Pitched up, made my putt. So I took a 6 on this hole. When it should have been, a relatively simple par 4 to just play to the middle instead of trying to get greedy once you're in the woods. But next year, there's always next year. At this point, the rain is coming down pretty hard, so it's a pain in the ass. Everything's soaked. It's all muddy. It's gross. I had a really good shot. I liked it. I was probably 20 feet past, but what did I do? I missed the putt low. So, had to take a par. Great. Hole 17, I'm ready to be done. I think 7 over at this point. I'm just like, screw it. I'm done. I was probably texting you guys at this point, like, yeah, I threw it away. It's over. Like, we're done. I'm just ready to go home. So, of course, I came back, didn't really care, threw a great shot, ended up 5 feet from the basket. So, I got a birdie here, right at the end. Rain started to kind of let up a little bit. Had a little bit of chance to dry off some discs, might dry off my hands. Didn't play to the alternate, we played to the end. So, this is the last hole. I'm like, all right, let's just get off this hole, be done. We'll see how everybody else did. It's over. Just be smooth. Don't have to worry about killing it. Here we go. We're fine. Had a good shot. I liked my shot. It didn't really end up in a fantastic place. I ended up here right above the creek. But I was really happy with that shot. Just unfortunate footing where it landed. That was all. Not the best pitch up. Again, just not very good footing. Couldn't really get an opening where I wanted to throw it. But 15 feet away should have been an easy make. Just a terrible putt, honestly. Like, most of the time I had been missing low, hitting the bottom of the cage. Hitting, the bottom of the cage right here and just falling straight down. This time, so I ended up here, about 15 feet away. Straight right, not even close to the basket, 20 feet past. And at that point, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. So I went over, picked it up, missed. I'm pretty sure I missed again, maybe, and then had to tap it in for a 5 or 4. No, I actually made so I went over, picked it up, didn't care, threw it straight at the basket, of course, made the putt. That's how it usually goes. But ended up with a 4, a pretty, I guess, nice 4. This is another difficult hole for the day. But yeah, ended +8 on this course. So ended plus 13 overall. And at the time, that was, what did I tell you guys, like 217th? Because there's still a bunch of people playing behind me. But they had to contend with the rain. So I guess they were just losing strokes as they were playing. I sat in the car for a little bit, watched the scores coming in, and it ended up 145th. So not terrible, I guess. Not what I wanted, but it could have been worse. So there's a lot I need to work on. Putting for sure. Not throwing straight into the ground would also be nice, but it was fun. It was a good weekend, and next year I think I'll be a little bit more prepared.